Hey guys, welcome to Ask Me Anything About Evernote number 35. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Tamingthetrunk.com, tamingthetrunk.com. So, a question from Marco this time. Can you talk about tables in one of your next AMAs? Yes. I've been exploring Notion a bit, and the way it can present table views looks interesting to me. I'm trying to figure out a way how I can make better use of tables in Evernote, especially for tables with more rows. Is there a way that you can have links to jump to specific cells of a table in a note? I've tried using headings, but there seems to be no anchor points available that you can capture a link. I'm also wondering about filtering, if it's possible to create a different view for a table. All good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about tables. So a couple of things which I'll deal with first. There's no way to do filtering in tables in Evernote. Tables at the moment, right now, are kind of like just a visual thing. I suppose like a HTML web table, I suppose, just like that. They're not dynamic, so they don't sort. You can't sort A to Z, Z to A, or all that sort of numerical, whatever it is. I think I'd like to see that happen in the future. I don't know. I've heard different kind of arguments. There's a lot of folk who kind of like say, well, tables in Evernote should just be tables if you kind of like want to do a Notion thing. Because in Notion, it's not really a table, is it? It's more of a database. And you kind of like end up with blocks inside blocks inside blocks inside blocks. It just, for me, it's just too confusing. I've had a play with Notion. I used Notion for about couple of months, years and years and years ago. Couldn't get on with it. Same with the Obsidian. Couldn't get on with it. Too much fussing going on. Just way too much of my time was taken up managing the actual note-taking app instead of actually just doing stuff and taking notes and keeping stuff organized. But that's probably a different AMA. So tables. So tables in Notion are very, very different. They're almost like little databases. Tables in Evernote are really for just displaying things. So there is no kind of filtering or different views at the moment for a table. But let's do a little bit about the links first. So what Marco means is that, okay, let's generate a table using shortcut. Bam. That's a really cool little shortcut that is for creating a table. So we got 4x4 table like that. So when you add a header, let's do a header 3. Header 3. When it's outside of a table, you can grab a link to the header, like here. So you can copy it, and then you can paste it anywhere you want. You can paste it kind of like at the top here, like so. And when you click it, it goes down to the header at the bottom, like that. Okay. You can actually make these pretty as well, like so. And you can also set in settings, in Note, you can, Evernote links, you can set them to title, like that. So if I delete this and then paste it in again, it goes in as a title, like so. So let's get rid of it. So we click on that and we go straight down to our header at the bottom. Okay, right. So what Marco's trying to do is do this inside a table cell. So if I put a header in a table cell like this, the header appears absolutely fine, but there's no link, copy link thing. So a workaround, a bit of a hack, is to grab the drag handles of your header, move them inside the table like that. Let's add a little bit of space. Let's put that link at the top. And there we go, straight down to the header and the table. So if you've got a really long table, I don't know, 50, 60 rows or something like that, you could have different headers at various different points. And then you could create a sort of like a little table of contents or something at the top, which would scoot you right the way down to the different sections of the table. So that might help a little bit on that. Otherwise, tables are pretty cool in Evernote, to be honest with you. We can, you can change the size of all the cells. You can extend the width of the table a little bit if you want to. We can add cell colors, just individual cell colors, like so, or you can drag across a whole bunch of cells and then change the background colors there. You can tab and then go to another row, tab, puts in another row like that. So there's other little options inside here, like aligning content to the center, aligning it to the top, the bottom, deleting selected column, all sorts of different little bitty things like that. You could also move a thing. So if I wanted that, I can move my cells around, which is pretty cool. I can drag columns about, which is pretty cool. You can merge cells as well, so you can create different, so you can go like so, and then merge the cells like that. So we've got a big long one and two short ones. There's an awful lot you could do. Oh, you can move the table. Oops, just added a column by mistake. You can grab and drag the table up and down your note if you want to. We can add rows, add columns as well. Just, yeah, all sorts of different stuff you can do with tables. They are pretty cool, to be honest with you. I use tables quite a lot, mainly as kind of like a visual thing in a way. So one of my favorite little things I use a table for, if I do, you can only do it by putting in two like this. Oh, I'll probably put, so let's delete that one, delete that row, and delete that column, and then stretch this out a little bit like that, and change the color to N. This could be a section header, and let's say turn it into things. So that then is like a section header within a note for me, and that's all that table's being used. It's like a one cell table. It's just being used as a kind of like a little section. You can also kind of like, you've probably seen it in some of the templates that I've created for Evernote. You can slap an emoji in just to help you visually identify a section. So there's an awful lot you can actually do with tables. They are pretty cool, but there isn't any sort of sorting. It's not dynamic as such. It is mainly for displaying tabular data, I suppose, and tables and formatting your content and stuff. So I'll go. I hope that's been useful. Let me know if you've got a question. Leave it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Tamingthetrunk.com. Tamingthetrunk.com. Thanks for watching.